Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to be doing week's 5 questions of the critical thinking class. Second slide, pages 97 to 98, exercise 4 to 1, question 3. Rewrite the following arguments, putting the premises first and the conclusion last. If there's a implicit conclusion, add it and circle it. If there's an implicit premise, add and circle it. A. P1. What is simple cannot be separated from itself. P2. The soul is simple. C. Conclusion. The soul cannot be separated from itself. B. Premise 1. Your skin looks soft and feels silky. Implicit premise. You smell so clean and natural. Conclusion. Pure Swatchbone beige baby powder makes you feel well and pure. C. Premise 1. Hates changing habits. Implicit premise. Metric system is new, so they do not want to change themselves to try it. Conclusion. Metric system is terrible. D. Premise 1. Trust builds and monopolies are being weakened in capitalism. Premise 2. More competitions arrive to replace old ones that were shut off. C. The Great Depression weakened the grip on capitalism. E. Premise 1. People capable of memorizing easy answers. Premise 2. People can calmly avoid unexpected questions. Conclusion. Debating in this time is not relatively the same as debating as it now at all. F. Premise 1. He drives recklessly when he is upset. Premise 2. He is not upset at the moment. Conclusion. He will not drive recklessly. Slide 3. Exercise 4 to 1. Question 3. Continued. G. Premise 1. The research teams barely have collected any data. Premise 2. The teams are not focusing on data, but rather ethical choices. C. Not enough data to determine anything. H. Premise 1. Women are not paid for any housework. Premise 2. Women wages are much lower than a man's wage. Conclusion. C. Financially, women are suffering more than men. I. Premise 1. Christ did not choose women to be priests. Premise 2. The church must model the idea Christ gave. Conclusion. Woman cannot be ordained. J. Premise 1. He confessed. Implicit premise. The guilty will confess. Conclusion. He is guilty. K. Premise 1. Hot fudge sundaes are what we want. C. Conclusion. We just want hot fudge sundaes. L. Premise 1. Human rights begin at birth. Premise 2. You are a human being after you are born. Implicit premise. A fetus is not born. C. Conclusion. Fetuses do not have rights. Question 4. Determine what the following arguments are deductive or inductive. Be careful to pick out the conclusion before deciding. A. Inductive. B. Deductive. C. Deductive. D. Inductive. E. Deductive. F. Inductive. G. Deductive. And the last one, H. Inductive. Question 5. Consider the following arguments and decide whether you think the author of the argument intends it to be deductive reasoning or inductive reasoning. A. Intended to be inductive reasoning. B. Intended to be deductive reasoning. C. Intended to be deductive reasoning. D. Intended to be inductive reasoning. E. Intended to be deductive reasoning. And the last one, F. Intended to be deductive reasoning. Last slide. No, second slide. Last slide. Sorry. Exercise 4 to 2. Question 1. Distinguish logical warranting from factual warranting. Factual warranting, as stated, is a warranted statement which is seldom questioned, according to page 81 of Thinking Sarcastically. This is a point where, when we give real factual information, we are warranting the conclusion. Both premise and conclusion are factual and real in this instance. B. Logical warranting. If there is a logical connection, it means if the premise is factual, then the conclusion must be regarded as factual too. This is a much more used approach, although the status of the premise being factual makes the conclusion most likely not guaranteed. Last slide, question 2. Explain why in our daily lives reasoning with probability is more common than reasoning with necessity. It is more common with probability than necessity due to the circumstances of the premise being relevant, not factual. People use premises that are more relevant to the conclusion, as well as factual, but not always in order to support the conclusion. Thank you.